Okay.
All right, welcome everyone. Another 2 weeks have quickly passed. Can't say that they've been uneventful, but we're all here today to talk about letting go of regrets, of worries, of judgments. Believe me, the United States is filled with judgment right now. It'll be a really wonderful thing if we could all let go, and how to let go, and what that means to us as people, both on all levels of being, as we are whole and perfect as we are. So obviously, Chris will lead this one. This is her topic, and I look forward to questions you may have as we move forward, and then we'll have a meditation that will assist you in the first steps of letting go of things that you're holding on to. So, Chris.
Okay. Well, welcome everybody, and welcome to 2021. It was actually the transition to 2021 that made me think about this importance of talking to people about how we let go of anything that we feel like we no longer want to be part of our experience. Because in the annual transition of how we use time to mark the years, there's many rituals, and rituals that have to do with releasing or letting go of things we felt from the year before that we no longer felt we wanted to be part of our lives. And some of those rituals have to do with taking a doll and stuffing it with your regrets or your worries, burning it. There are traditions of gathering the water from the day and pouring it outside because it's dirty, and moving on. And there's many traditions around the world, or even experiences that don't have to do with the new year, that have to do with, I no longer want this person in my life, so I'm going to burn all the books I read with them, or I'm going to throw out my picture albums, or I'm going to do something dramatic to try to let go of a memory, a feeling I had about a choice that I made. So I thought it was really important, because talking to people about, all of you, and looking at this topic of letting go is really about separation. And it's very important to understand that in choosing self-love and in really looking at the power of self-love, it's very important to look at the fact that that word self does not just mean your soul in the body that it's in. It means your being as all that it is, which is everything. It is not limited by the physical body in which you chose to come to have this experience on Earth. It is, excuse me, I'll let someone in. It is an unlimited experience unless you limit it by seeing others as separate from yourself, and then taking actions that reinforce that belief in separation. So the core of the teaching today is quite simple. It is very simple, because it says we don't let anything go unless we embrace it with love, unless we honor that we chose it. At the same time, what that says is that everything is you. So rather than this notion that I can somehow separate from choices I made, experiences I had, etc., and they will no longer be in my energetic experience. They will no longer be something I'll feel because I somehow burned the books, or I stuffed the doll with my worries and did something with it in whatever ritual it is. It's the opposite. And that's why I feel like it's so important to share this, because every moment of our lives, if we embrace each of those moments as ourselves, it can be a moment at work. It can be, what happened here in the United States, which was very dramatic. It can be very simple, something that's happened in your household. It doesn't matter. All of those moments are your heart. Your glorious heart is a wonderful thing. Even if it's difficult, it's wonderful. It's just your heart trying to get your attention. And when you acknowledge it, by just standing before it and saying, okay, heart, I know this is you talking to me. I know this is you reaching out to me. I want to learn this lesson. That acknowledgement brings down the chaos, the stress, the everything that you feel, brings you greater peace. And that's why it's so important to understand that it's a very simple act to embrace. In order to let anything go, to give it a hug, to say, okay, heart, I know that you are speaking to me. I know that you are me. And I honor that I manifested you to be here to teach me. And when you do that, when you give it that embrace of love, when you give it that acknowledgement that it is you and it is your teacher and it is here for you, then it no longer needs to stand before you as your teacher. But when you separate, okay, when you say, hey, that's not me. I would never do that. That's nothing I would do. Nothing I would say. And you put up your hands or you push it away or you try to get rid of it. Actually, what happens is the opposite. The energy that's trying to reach you as your teacher escalates. It's like the child who's trying to get attention of their parent. Any of you that are parents or have been around children know that when children want to get your attention and you're not paying attention to them, first they pull on you in some way, mommy, or daddy. And then they escalate. They knock things off the table. They write on the walls. They are trying to get your attention. It is the same thing. It is the same thing when you do not embrace everything that's happening as you. It just will escalate in how it'll work to get your attention. So this fundamental experience we have on earth, it so powerfully tells us we're separate. It just does. I mean, all of our teachings, so much of our institutions tell us that we're not one experience. We're not, we're somehow not that person over there or not this over there, not some voice that we're hearing from somewhere else. But to the extent you want to experience the peace that you are, just make this simple choice of choosing that each moment that stands before you, no matter how global it is, if you are aware of it, it is a manifestation of your heart. What happened in the United States was a manifestation of my heart. I had to take the time to say, I honor that you are trying to get me to look at something. Okay? It's very important, whether it's big or little, that you take the time to honor and acknowledge that it's your heart speaking to you. And then just start to work with it. Ask what it's trying to teach you about how you're choosing to love yourself. You may not know the answer right away. You may not get the answer right away. That's okay. Once you acknowledge your teacher, and think about anything you learned in your life. I mean, I went through a lot of years of schooling. I just now am understanding things that I learned 30 years ago. when I was finishing up my formal education. That's okay. That's all right. It's the same thing with your heart. As long as your heart knows, you hear it, you're acknowledging it, then it will bring down the temperature. It will stop trying to get your attention like the child writing on the wall. And so the act of embracing things with love is quite simple. Whether it's a thought you have had, whether it's experience you've had, maybe that you think is in your past, but you keep connecting to in some way, just use the 3-step process. And the first step is just to acknowledge that I would just do I, Christine, as God, honor with great joy and celebration, my choice too. And then I would state what that was. And just that first part acknowledges to my heart that it was my choice to learn from this teacher in this moment, this way. And once I acknowledge the teacher, we can then start to learn the lesson and move on in a much greater experience of peace. Mare?
Thank you. This does not mean you won't have feelings of anger, sadness, disappointment, rage even, based on the experiences that you're having. But when your body and your heart starts to feel these feelings, that is an alert. That is totally healthy, totally part of the experience we're having, but it is an alert. If you say so-and-so made me angry, it is an alert that your anger means that there's something for you to look at. That's all it is. And it's okay. It's okay to be angry. It's okay to cry. It's okay to feel disillusioned. We've been through a lot of emotions here in the United States this week. And it's okay to feel them and feel angry or disgusted or whatever it is. But to come out of it in a state of peace, that's what we're talking about. How do you let go of how an experience is impacting you to bring you to a greater level of understanding, learning, and ultimately the peace that you're always seeking? You know, we have a pattern of behavior, and I'm sure we're exactly the same, no matter where we are, no matter who we are, of, I don't have to deal with that. That doesn't impact me directly. That's not true. And that is a very, very hard concept. If there is someone or something going on in your world that it's brought to your attention, whether it's through the media, someone telling you a story, or something you witnessed personally, it is an opportunity for you to sit back and reflect upon why you are hearing this and how does it make you feel? And then how do I let this go? Even a moment of joy can be released because that only brings greater joy. It is an amazing thing. I remember when my children were graduating from college and deciding to move away from home far, like to the other side of the country, one of them to the other side of the world for a while. And that feeling that I just want to hold on and protect them so tight, so tight, so tight. And I spent a lot of time working on the visualization of letting them go and letting them fly free, letting them go and letting them fly free. And the best part of the outcome of that choice was, yes, they went and they should go, but we became closer in other ways. It created a different connection. We weren't physically together, but we were connected at the heart level in a much stronger way because I wasn't holding on and holding them back. So even letting go of people allows you to give the freedom to both of you, to each of you, to explore all possibilities and live a full and whole experience and still keep a very powerful connection between you. It's a very interesting thing. As for letting go of judgment, to me, that is a challenge, and it is the most remarkable thing when you can release judgment about anything. And we will work on this as individuals, as humans, every day, because we think we're not in judgment, but pay attention. You think a thought about something or someone that is not peaceful inside or is a little painful, the judgment is there. Releasing that releases yourself more powerfully than anything else. And we will work with that today in meditation. So are there questions before we move on in any way? And I know we all have our own experiences. You can put them into chat if you don't want to share on the, on the screen. Any thoughts?
Now I want to talk about the judgment for a moment. It's very interesting. This tool of self-love and of teaching is one that people sometimes can take and then turn around on themselves. In other words, judge themselves for having judgments. But I think what's so important here, what Marilyn is sharing, whether it's the anger, the sadness, the disappointment, the rage, the judgment, regret, worry, all these things we're talking about that we have chosen as experiences of separation, because that's what they are. They're separation from the simple truth that you're perfect. You're perfect as you are. And so when you even have a judgment about a judgment, right? You're judging yourself as less. You're saying, I'm not perfect. I'm not good enough as I am. I don't accept myself as I am. I see myself as less in some way. And so just recognize what Marilyn is saying is acceptance is purely that. Okay, it's hard. It's one of those things that has no other way of describing it other than just allowing yourself, gifting yourself in each moment the space just to be okay as you are, just fine as you are, and thereby, if you have a judgment that you no longer want to have, you don't want that experience, all you're doing with the letting go exercise is saying to yourself, all right, heart, I chose that experience, but I no longer want it. So I'm going to choose something new. And so I'm going to embrace you with love. I'm going to give you that hug that says, I acknowledge I, as God, made this choice to have this judgment just a minute ago. And I no longer want to have it. I'm going to let it go. And that's all it is, right? It's just a tool that allows you to release. That's what we're talking about here, because we recognize sometimes we no longer want to have certain experiences and we want to get rid of them. And so the core important teaching here today is the only way anything leaves the vessel of all that you are and releases is when you give it that hug of love, that acknowledgement that you made a choice to have that experience. And then you no longer need to have it there as your teacher because you acknowledge that you chose it the way the exercise goes, the second step, you would say, but in this moment, I choose to release it and learn from it in perfection, whenever that perfect moment is. And now I want to make a new choice. And so you make your new choice. And now you have used your power as God to honor all that you are. And that's the other piece of this. This tool is really based in helping you understand all that you are. You are every person you meet. You are everything you hear of. You are all. And as you welcome that in peace and interact with it with that recognition that it's okay. It's okay. There's no judgment. There's just ways to learn. You can learn through joy, you can learn through pain. And that's it. So how will you choose? And that's the core of this. You know, we on earth have mastered in entering as souls separation. But we are equally able in the moment of acknowledgement that you are perfect as you are to be the master and to absolute master being God, being perfect as you are. You do not need to do anything except acknowledge that and then live the joyous experience of living it. You will feel greater peace. You will experience greater joy. You have that power. And this is simply an understanding that will help you make that choice in each moment.
Did get a chat question. And the person says, so far the examples are like letting go of negative things. There are also clear things, pain, etc. Those are clear. What about vague or nothing feelings or thoughts? Seeming fatigued of everything. How do you let go of that which seems so undefined and unclear?
What a great question.
It is a great question.
Whoever asked that, thank you. It's really true. You know, I want to talk about that. That's really, really fascinating. Because one of the things we teach people is that whatever experience we're having of anything, even of joy, and I'll talk in a moment about being the fatigue or the vagueness, but whatever experience you're having, it is a limited one by our own choices. So at some point, letting go of even the joy that you have by embracing with love, all the joy that you've chosen, and then letting it go opens up greater joy to you, more to be had. So let me back up now to that question about what seems vague and amorphous. Everything is known to us. What I would say is that know that you know and listen carefully. So if you are experiencing something you're describing as vague, amorphous, and is now manifesting itself in the physical as fatigue, that is something your heart is working to get you to understand and see. And so what I mean by that is that the heart, the soul, as you would all probably call it, generally uses 5 different things at a time, trying to get the same message to us. So if you pay attention, ask your heart, I want clarity on why I have this sort of feeling of vagueness that's now manifesting as fatigue. What is that? What am I clouding myself over from hearing? What am I struggling to understand? And then listen to the people closest to you. someone will say something very unusual in an unusual way, and you will get your answer, okay? The core of that, what I just said, is knowing that you know everything. All the answers are there for you. Your heart will give them to you many, many ways. But just know that you know, okay? And work with the heart. Talk to it. Like I said, ask it. I want help understanding the fatigue, okay? Then as you get those understandings, you can use the tool of, okay, I embrace and love that I've embraced with love that I chose a vagueness, a feeling of fatigue. But I want to honor that I chose it as my teacher, but teacher, I need to understand. I want to understand better. And I'm going to let you go, learn from you, and choose total clarity. So you can use the tool like that, okay? You could acknowledge what you're feeling, you can let it go, learn from it, and then choose the opposite. I want total clarity. And then you've made a new choice. So that's another way to approach that.
We have another question. We always feel or judge ourselves as inadequate in that we try to change the environment and end up in trouble. When I would like to address this one, we do judge ourselves. I mean, we're always thinking we should have said this instead of that. We're not smart enough. We're not good enough. We're always judging ourselves. And we were raised in a world where we're taught to judge ourselves. I mean, let's be honest, we all come from families where you've heard parents say things that were not always elevating you, many times berating you, limiting you. And we grow up when we harbor those things deep within ourselves. When we think that it's time to change our environment, it's almost backwards, because the first place to change is within self. You can't change the world around you until you're willing to change yourself. Now, how do you do that? How do you gauge what is it that I need to change? You start with the basics. You start with simply acknowledging who you are and accepting the absolute perfection. I know it's just words, but the truth is, by using that three-step process that Chris keeps talking about, I honor my feelings of doubt about myself in this circumstance. I honor it fully, and I choose to learn from it in absolute perfection. And having learned from it that way, release it fully and replace it with, and then you choose what you replace it with. So with understanding the circumstance, or with peace, or with harmony, or whatever it is, and you do it over and over and over again. And as your reaction to the world around you starts to change, you'll notice that the world around you changes also, because it starts here, and everything is a mirror of something that we're feeling about ourselves. Chris and I have been doing this work for more than 20 years, and we're constantly clearing ourselves. We're constantly letting go. We're constantly working on it and taking that moment of standing still and doing this process over and over again when we feel like the world is chaotic around us. And it brings peace, and it helps, and it attracts into our lives people of like thought, people filled with peace, people filled with love. It is what happens. So we have another question, then we'll have to go to the meditation. Is the goal to accept everything as us and not judge anything as good and bad? Everything is just a learning opportunity.
Well, there's two parts to that, because there's a question of, is it a goal? And then there's, what it states, which is to live in acceptance. without judging things by adjectives, good, bad, better, worse, etc. The first part of is it a goal? That's up to each person, whether you make something a goal or not. It's just choice. And all the choices we're making as God are just how do you want to love yourself? What experience do you want in your life? What I would say is the second part of that, which is about, living in each moment, accepting it as your teacher in peace, is a choice that brings greater peace, because it is not about separation. It's just about allowing each moment to be your teacher, not judging that teacher, good, bad, better, worse, just honoring every single moment of your life is a glorious moment that you have. And it's spectacular, and it should be honored just in acknowledgement. So that's what I would say about that. Not so much a goal as a choice. You can make it a goal if you want, or just make it a choice. I choose to live this way. And then it doesn't have to be something you attain. It just is something you do. As Marilyn's saying, in this moment, in the next moment, in the next moment, and maybe in one moment you don't. And you remember that and you go, oh no, I want to choose that again. So I do it again and again and again and again. And then what you'll discover over time as you live with that choice in each moment is that's how you live. You just don't even, it just is how you are in each moment. So that's how I would answer that.
All right, Chris, if you could mute everyone. And what I'm going to do today in meditation is guide you into learning how to go into a state of meditation and release and embrace everything and find peace through the process. So I ask you now to, if you want a sip of water, make yourself comfortable. All right, I will guide you through this whole thing. Inhale deeply and hold it as long as you can. And as soon as you're ready, release your breath. And inhale deeply once again. Hold it and let it go. And this time, inhale deeply and hold it. And as you release your breath, release all thought, all limitation. I will take you on a journey for yourself as an individual. But first, imagine yourself lying on a beautiful white sand beach. Feel the earth beneath you, the warm sand, just allowing your body to find the perfect space, the comfort, the warmth filling you. And feel the heat of the sun, the golden light of the sun upon you, gently warming you from above. And be aware of your environment. You are the only one here upon the beach. And you are safe. You are comfortable. You hear the waves of the ocean. You hear the seagulls overhead. And you feel the breeze upon your physical body. Let yourself relax. Feel your arms and legs grow heavy as you let your body relax. Feel the tension leave your shoulders as you let yourself relax upon this beautiful beach. You are fully connected to the earth below and to the universe beyond. Feel peace. There is nothing here but you, your heart, and we will bring some thought into this moment. And as you lie here in this beautiful place, so peaceful, so relaxed, bring to mind a situation in your life that creates stress. Any kind of stress. Can be at work, can be at home, could be an experience you've recently had with someone else. But it's the experience I want you to bring to mind, not the people involved. Bring it to mind and relive it for just a moment. What was said? What was felt? What was happening around you that brought you those feelings? And in this state of peace, ask your heart, what am I to learn from what has transpired in that moment of time? And let the words come. Let the knowing be. And whether or not you hear an answer, you will. But for now, I want you to take that moment, that circumstance, that experience, and put it in a giant bubble and let it float away and leave you. And as it does, thank it for what it is teaching you in this moment and send it off with love. Choose another moment and do it again. Relive it. Relive the emotions of it, the thoughts, the feelings, the judgments, the worries. We all have those. And ask what you are here to learn from that experience, from those moments. And trust that you will hear what you are here to learn from it. Maybe not now, but in a day or 5 or 2 weeks. And accept that and surround it in a bubble and thank it for all that it is teaching you. And love the experience of it, for it is a great teacher. And let it go with love. Now, bring thought to someone with whom you have a challenging relationship. It could be a spouse, it could be a parent, it could be an in-law, it could be a coworker, it could be a friend. It makes no difference. Bring that person into your thoughts and see them stand before you as you are in this magnificent state of peace. And tell them you love them. It may be the hardest thing you do today. Give them love. Thank them for being your teacher. And ask your heart, why are they here? What are they here to teach me? And let it be. I want you to imagine that you take your arms and surround this being with your arms, pulling them in and holding them close. Feel the oneness and then put them in a bubble. And with great love and thanks for all that you are learning from these interactions that are challenging, send them away with love. Do this again and again. I will give you a moment to bring forth challenges and people, and just remember, what are you here to learn from them, and how can you embrace them, bring them in, love them, and then release them. You can return to do this over and again, but for now, I want you to bring into thought someone you love deeply. Could be a child, a partner, a friend, anyone, another being. You love them so much, so unconditionally. Feel your arms embrace them and pull them into your heart, and you are more than willing to do this. Love them. Fill them with your love. But now, ask them also, what are they here to teach you? And allow the answers to come. And the hardest part is put them in a bubble and let this person float away. Free yourself from the ties that bind. The love is so much greater than you can imagine. By releasing them, you allow the love to grow. Let go. Let them go. With all the love that you are, free them and free yourself. And do this with each being that you love. The first time I did this, I cried as I let go of my children one by one, and they have come back, and they will always return to the love. And now I want you to imagine that you are standing before yourself. You're the most important being for your own heart. Stand before yourself and ask yourself, what am I here to learn in this lifetime? And put that forth and let it be. And then take your arms and wrap yourself in love and hold yourself so close you merge in the love. And recognize, acknowledge the magnificence of who you are, the perfection of who you are, the love that you are. Let all other thoughts dissipate. And as you merge, feel yourself in the bubble. Feel yourself begin to float away. But this time, I honor you by inviting you to pop the bubble so that there are no walls around you any longer, and you are all that is everywhere. Feel the expansion of your love for yourself and for all. Allow yourself to let go of limitation, of how you see the world, and mostly how you see yourself in this world. and allow yourself the experience of endless acceptance, limitlessness, love, and peace. And as you continue your journey of expansion and self-discovery, return to this beach in this moment and any moment from now on. Feel the comfort of the warmth of the sand beneath you and the golden light of the sun upon you. Be aware of your environment, the sounds around you, the safety, the privacy, and the freedom to explore all things, all thoughts, all knowing, and all love. And I invite you back into your home. Become aware again that you are home, your place of safety and solitude, your place of great healing. Allow yourself to embrace where you are in this moment in absolute acceptance and total love for self and all. Return to the beach anytime. When you need to let things go, use bubbles, use love, ask questions, and then let it all go. Don't hold on, and watch everything around you begin to change. It is amazing. It is glorious. Welcome back, everyone. I invite you back. And as you start your day, whether it is for you tomorrow or for those of us here today, every experience you have is an opportunity of learning. But start your day while you shower, while you brush your teeth, loving yourself, for that is where it begins and it ends. And with that energy to start your day will be different and be glorious. Thank you. We are honored to share this time with you. Thank you.